always win.
Hello everybody, welcome to Positive Impact with Joy. My name is Joy Eleanor, and we all know that Positive Impact is a program where we invite professionals to come in and share their perspectives on burning issues and the preferred solution. Today we have a special guest in the house. She's a legal practitioner, and she's going to tell us about the laws guiding domestic violence in women in Nigeria. Don't go away. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Maybach music.
Can anybody out there hear me? Hear me?
Welcome back. My name is Joy Eleanor. This is Positive Impact, and our topic today is on the current laws on domestic violence in Nigeria. I have a special guest to do justice to this topic. She's a very young, talented lawyer. She is Barrister Lizua Diane Opara. She's a legal practitioner. She has a master's degree in law, and she provides valuable legal information and creates awareness through legal nuggets and tips. Today, we're going to hear her tell us more about Nigerian law guiding women on domestic violence. You're welcome, Barrister.
Thank you very much.
Now, today, we've had a lot of people coming to the show to, talk about domestic violence. And today we're having you tell us the legal aspect of it. Because as we all know, women are going through all forms of, abuse, physical, verbal, emotional. So today we want to find out, tell us, what, in your own perspective, is domestic violence? Would like to know the statistics of domestic violence today against women in Nigeria.
Okay, domestic violence is any act perpetrated by someone, any person in a domestic relationship, which such act causes harm,
Okay.
or the fear of harm to the safety, the health, and the well-being of such a person.
Okay.
Now, domestic violence includes verbal,
Yes.
physical,
Yeah.
emotional, economic,
Yeah.
psychological,
Yes.
even spiritual and sexual violence.
Yeah.
So it's all encompassing in a domestic environment, in a domestic sphere rather.
Oh, okay. Today we're talking about women. I know some men also go through, this kind of violence. So men watching, we'll talk about that some other time. So tell us, so what are the various types? You've mentioned a few, but I want you to, break it down more, the various types of domestic violence.
Okay, there are, like I mentioned earlier, we have the physical violence.
Yeah.
That entails infliction of physical injury,
Okay.
infliction of physical harm
Okay.
on someone.
Okay.
It's not just restricted to, beating, like in the case of wife beating.
Yeah.
It also involves that of the the issue of female genital mutilation.
Really?
So yes,
Okay.
it does. So that's about the physical aspect of it. Then we have the emotional aspect where you try to use the emotions of the individual, of the spouse. I would say restricting it to, of course, the home, the spouse, and then you try to use that to manipulate the person. You try to control the person.
Yeah.
You try to name call the person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the emotional aspect of it. Then I think I mentioned the spiritual part of it. Where you try to restrict and try to prevent someone from really, really going out to practice their beliefs and their religion, just to manipulate the person and to control the person. It's the spiritual aspect of it. The psychological you're trying to deal with the person's psyche and trying to, it's also like more of close to the emotional aspect of it, you know.
The economic.
The economic, yes. That you see situations where some men, because we are dealing with women right now, some men try to prevent their wives from working, just so that they are forced to depend on them financially and economically. So the person is not able to meet her basic needs.
Okay.
Yes, she's not able to meet her basic needs. She has to depend on the perpetrator for that to be done.
Yeah.
So it causes, it encourages domestic violence to thrive.
Okay, because you've mentioned quite a few, which is well explicit. So my next question, I think you did justice to part of it. So I'll just say, what would the effect of all these various types of violence have? What would it have in a relationship, or mean in a relationship, you know, when there's violence?
Okay, when there's violence, there is this, you know, for many women, there's this low self-esteem.
Yeah.
They feel, you know, they feel not worth it in the society. And then we also have this, there is possibility of death.
Yeah.
When physical harm is done to someone, can have an issue of internal bleeding. And then, of course, you know the rampant cases we had already this year where people lost their lives in the process because of the domestic abuse perpetrated on them. Okay. Then you have that the cognitive functioning issue where the person lacks this verbal or quantitative ability, and then the person tends to support, develops this behavior where the person supports the use of violence.
Yes.
And so it's like a breeding point for violence in the society. And of course, the saying goes, charity begins at home. So if domestic violence is allowed to thrive in the home, then there is every possibility that it's also going to affect the society by large.
Yeah, but so could you tell us a few reasons why you think there's domestic violence in the home, like causes of domestic violence?
Okay, the major cause of domestic violence in the home, like the Minister of Women Affairs said one time, it's poverty. Poverty. It's really, really eating a lot of homes. So people are being put under undue pressure. Undue pressure. And then another part of it is, you know, the child marriages that we have. Child marriage. And then illiteracy. People are not aware of their rights. People are not aware of the provisions of the law relating to their rights. Many people lack that information and awareness. And then for so many, they don't know where to even go to. And then the worst part of it in the society right now is the culture of silence. You know, it's prevalent in Nigeria.
It says respect.
Yes. You know, this culture of silence, and then you try to, there's this, you try to evade the stigma associated with being separated or being removed from it. So a lot of people choose to endure, a lot of people choose to remain there, and they don't want the public ridicule. And then a lot of women have not even helped matters. You know, there's this disunity amongst women. We try to pull each other down when such issues come. Instead of providing help, we try to pamper it. You know, it's really the cultural factors, the social factors, and all. They are all contributing to the prevalence and the opportunity for this to thrive in the society.
Yeah, from what you just said, I just want to, you know, add a little bit to it, because it's just brought my mind to what happens in, like, women church programs. You know, some churches will say married women group. Mind you, there are single women.
Yes, exactly.
They might be widows. maybe single parent just had kids, out of wedlock or all that. So now they begin to have complex. You make them feel, okay, we're not married, so we're not righteous. You see, people are pressured. They want to be married, even when they are going through, challenges in their marriages. They stay because they don't want to be seen as single.
That's public ridicule, yeah.
That's it. Thank you for the professional word. So what does the Nigerian law say about domestic violence against women?
Okay, I'll first of all go straight to the basic law of the land, which is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999. Section 33 guarantees the right to life. It is very, very important. It is sacrosanct. It's a right that belongs to you as a person. And then also Section 34 provides for dignity of human persons. Everyone is valuable. And everyone needs to be accorded the respect and not to be subjected to inhuman and degrading treatment. Then we have the Section 35 of the Constitution, which provides for personal liberty. It is the fulcrum, the base on which the legislature has enacted the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, which is applicable to Nigeria, applicable to the Federal Capital Territory, and then some states have gone ahead to also domesticate the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act as laws. So you have the River State Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law. And then for other states, just with slight variations.
So these laws are for everybody, not just for women.
Yes, it's for everybody. The basic objective of that law is to eliminate all forms of violence against persons, both in private and public life, and to provide effective remedies for victims of domestic violence, and then also provide punishment sections too for that purpose.
So viewers, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. When we come back, we'll talk about the punishment for domestic violence. Don't go away.
Can anybody out there hear me?
Welcome back. This is Positive Impact with Joy. I have with me in the studio Barrister Lesora Opara, and our topic today is on the current laws on domestic violence against women. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Again. Let's look at what are the offenses constituting domestic violence and some of the penalties, in Nigeria.
Okay, we have the infliction of physical injury. It's an offense. It's an offense now, and it's upon conviction, the offender is liable to 2 years imprisonment.
So when you have injury, whether your husband, your friend, your neighbor, your mother,
it's an offense.
It's an offense.
It's an offense. And 2 years imprisonment or 500,000 naira or both. That's an option of fine of 500,000 naira or both. Then we have another one where you try to isolate someone from members of her family so that you can gain undue advantage. You try to separate someone from her friends. It's an offense.
Like you're married.
Yes, you're married.
Your husband or wife try to separate you from your family and friends. It's an offense. So you can report that.
Yes, you can report that.
Or you get justice.
Yes, you can report that, and the offense it goes with a term of 6 months or 100,000 naira fine. Or both. We also have the case of abandonment of a spouse or children or dependents without any means of sustenance. Now, in this case, it can either be the man or the woman, but the important thing is that the person is someone that is dependent on them.
Okay.
Yes, it's also an offense.
So you're making money, they're dependent on you, and you abandon them.
Yes, it's an offense.
Okay.
Now under the VAP Act and under the VAP law of Rivers State, then there's also spousal battery.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is?
That's you're inflicting harm on your spouse.
Okay.
You know, the physical infliction of injury could also be to the children.
Yes.
It could also be to sister or brother.
Spouse.
But this one, spouse.
Man or
yes, yes, man or woman.
Okay.
It's punishable under the law.
Okay.
And upon conviction, you can get 5 years imprisonment or an option of fine.
Okay.
The amount is also stipulated. And there is this other aspect of you forcefully eject the woman from
the home. Okay. Throw her things out.
Throw her things out. It's an offense. A lot of people don't know
that. They don't know that.
It's an offense. It's an offense, and it's punishable.
Okay.
With 2 years imprisonment or an option of fine of 300,000 naira.
Okay.
And then there is this other aspect of it again that talks about subjecting widows to traditional practices that are harmful to them. Okay. It's also an offense.
Like the same they wash
exactly
and drink the water,
exactly,
sleep with everybody.
It is an offense. Punishable under the VAP law or the VAP Act, respectively. Yeah. Then there is this other aspect of it where you try to you're trying to we should cover this.
Okay, no problem. Okay, then so the second part of this question is, what are the measures taken to reduce domestic violence? Like in Nigeria, what are some measures government has taken to reduce it?
Okay, the basic measure that has been taken to reduce this is the enactment of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law as applicable to Rivers State, and then the Act as applicable to Nigeria. A lot of people have taken this law. It's like a radical change in the system when it comes to issue of domestic violence. It's radical because it's not just the punishment sections. It provides for compensation of the victim. Which was not the case before now. You just, for any offense, you could easily go to jail. But this, the victim is compensated by law. It's a radical change, and it's a strong measure to curb domestic violence. And then the police also, it's imposed upon them to ensure that they arrest someone they witness committing an act of domestic violence. Yes, the law provides, it imposes on them a duty.
Witness.
Yes, the witness. Or upon reasonable suspicion when that complaint has been lodged. You know, it is imposed. It's an obligation under the law, and so many people don't know that. You know, and then it's not like the usual way of it's a private matter, it's a family matter. It is no longer that. It is now law.
Okay. Like you talked about enactment. This is done, by the government in their assembly, wherever they are. So which other ways, how do they create awareness? How can somebody, in the rural area, somebody that is not educated, sort of, how can they know about this laws? What are the government doing apart from enacting the law to let people know their rights?
All right, the law also provides that the relevant agency, which is NAPTIP, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons and Other Related Matters, they are expected to collaborate with faith-based agencies and other stakeholders to ensure that this law is administered, to ensure that people are aware of their rights. So it is not, and then the law even provides for protection officers to be appointed in the states. Okay, so we have, for instance, in River State, we have social welfare officers.
Yes.
But it's not, the law says protection officers, and they are expected to work with the courts. They are expected to also work with the police. They are also expected to ensure that this culture of publicly shaming the offender is done. Now, it's even there in the law that the register of sexual offenders should be made available to the public. So it is more like regulating, not trying to use the law to back up the culture of publicly shaming those involved in this. Then there is the need for training of the police officers.
Yeah.
They need to be trained with respect to the provisions of the law. It is very, very important because if they are not aware of the things, what the law imposes on them, it will be difficult for them to really, really ensure that this law is well administered. And then another thing is there should be the general awareness in schools, in church, in our churches. In our churches, there should be general awareness of people's rights. When it comes, it is a basic right. People shouldn't be subjected to degrading and inhuman treatment because of their gender, because they are females. It is very, very important that we should have that. And then for homes, parents, we should be able to enlighten our children too, that they can be assertive without being violent. Because a lot of children develop this from home, they become violent and will see it play out there. So children can actually be assertive without having to be violent. So it also behoves on the parents to ensure that these people understand this. And then the issue of child marriage. It's very, very important that we stand against it, because it's one of the major causes of domestic violence. So if we can stand against child marriages, it will really go a long way to curb the menace.
You've mentioned some organizations. Do they have to pay to get consultation or report a case to these organizations?
Okay, not really. There are some non-governmental and non-for-profit organizations advocating for rights. The only thing is that the law has provided right now that they need to be registered with the relevant agency, which is NAPTIP, in the case of the Federal Capital Territory. And then for that of River State, the Ministry of Social Welfare and Rehabilitation. There is they ought to be registered with them as accredited service providers, so that they can have access to the implementation of these laws relating to domestic violence.
With everything like you've talked about, the legal aspects, the enactment of laws, it just brought me back to a story of a young man who sent us his story. His daughter was raped, and he took the case, invited the police, and they arrested the guy. But after a while, a few days later, he saw the guy walking around freely. So it's like justice was not done. In this aspect, what do you think happened?
Well, anything could have happened while the court process was going on. So I cannot really tell exactly.
He didn't even go through the court process. He was just taken away for a few days, and he was let loose, and he continued with his normal, activity. And you see, if he's not punished for his offense, he could do that to, other.
That's the reason for the training of police officers, because most officers are not aware of this law.
Thank you so very much. So what's your last word for our viewers today? What are you going to say to a woman out there who is hiding and is not speaking out or afraid, or a child who has been raped? What's your last word for them today?
My last word is speak up. Just speak up. Speak up and protect your rights. It belongs to you. It belongs to you. Protect your rights.
Thank you so very much for
Thank you
coming
for
to the
having me.
program, and thank you for giving us all this information. A lot of us are not aware, but I know today those watching would be aware of what their rights are, especially right to life, liberty, education, religion, and all that. Viewers, thank you so much. We've come to the end of this program. I'm sure you have also been impacted by what our guest, has said today. So we'll see you again next week, same time, same station. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We love you. Bye.
Maybach music.
Can anybody out there hear me?